Chaz Witherspoon had a terrible pair of shorts on. So I said, we've got to make him a pair of shorts for the fight because I don't want him wearing those shorts. So Rick Ramos went out and got him a pair of shorts made, right? And came in the office this morning, or last night, really proud of himself. Look, it's a Witherspoon across the front, you know. And we didn't realise that Chaz had a different pair of shorts already, and he didn't want to wear them anyway. So, but that just goes to show there's a classic example where, you know, Rick's around all the time, and obviously he's on the ground here. He's getting a pair of shorts made for a heavyweight who's fighting on the card, and the worst thing is he didn't even wear them. So, thank you to Rick Ramos, because like I said, you know, these shows have opened up opportunities for Jessica and Summer and other fighters in the gym, and you know, without the help from people like Rick and Jessica and, you know, helping promote the show, then we wouldn't be able to come here. So Chaz Witherspoon got beat tonight, but he does have an extra pair of shorts.
Eddie, talk to us about the change. I mean, you talk about the help that Team McCaskill was able to bring, but last year, maybe half the arena was full and here near sellout, phenomenal atmosphere. What do you think has changed, and what have you seen that encourages you and motivates you to come back to this beautiful city?
Well, I think it's all about, you know, one thing that I'm learning about the US is obviously you've got different groups of supporters for different fighters. So last time we did well, we had a Polish fighter, you know, and then we had a huge Polish community turn up. I think you saw by the flags tonight there were several thousand Ukrainians in the house. Jessica's got her own fan base now in Chicago and Summer, and there's a great fight going on out there, by the way, where they're still going at it. They've sold 700 or 800 tickets between them. So it's all about different communities. I feel like the first show was really good and people wanted to return. Tonight was okay. I mean, a couple of fights didn't really catch fire like we thought it would, but that's boxing. But again, when you come back, you know, if we came back, and don't forget we brought the undisputed cruiserweight champion here tonight. So if we bring Triple G here in February, you're going to see it completely sold out, especially if he fights a Polish fighter, which is his mandatory. So I just think it's, you're never guaranteed. Like, you can't just come back to Chicago. Like, if we didn't have USYK tonight, we wouldn't have sold out. So you just got to be clever. We feel like we have a good... He's been taken to hospital, obviously. Lou DiBella promotes both guys, and I've been in touch with Lou DiBella, who... I feel like him and the family want to make their own statements, and I think they want a bit of privacy at the time. You know, obviously it's the situation I don't think is great, but I don't have enough information to furnish you with, and I think that will come from Lou DiBella. But obviously, from us at ringside, seeing him go to the ambulance, you know, it's a horrendous situation, and you know, such a nice man. You know, talking to him at the weigh, I've not really spoken to him before. Met him at a press conference for the first time. Had a really nice conversation with him. Such a lovely guy, and you know, he tried. You know, I think there was probably 30 seconds left in a round or something like that, the final round, and he was still trying to win the fight. You know, and he was miles behind the fight, and he could have easily not tried to win the fight, but he got knocked out trying to win the fight, and it just shows you, you know, what we talked about earlier. This is a very, very dangerous sport, and you know, we hope that he can pull through, and all our thoughts and prayers are with him. So I'm going to leave it to Lou for his fighters and the family to give you the news that I actually, in full, don't have. I've seen some tweets and stuff like that, but I'm going to speak to Lou finishing the press conference. All right, guys. Well done, Jessica McCaskill. Well done, mate. Well done. Yeah, 11%. Oh, right, okay. No, I think it was just dead. Yeah, when you press that. Oh, there you go. Yeah, any more questions, guys? You can...
Alexander is on his way.
Yeah, he's just doing his VADA test, so he'll be here shortly.
When did it kind of click to... It didn't make sense to possibly come back to Chicago for Gennady February?
I just think that Gennadi's box now, he's had back-to-back fights at the Garden. And we've seen from the ticket sales for this event that I feel like we have a good reputation and relationship with the fight fans in the city. So, and obviously if he fights his mandatory, which is Seremeta, the Polish fighter who's 20-0, then it would make sense to come here with such a huge Polish community. So it's not a definite, but it's definitely a venue that we're looking at.
Why are you guys looking to go the mandatory route with
Just because we may have to. So when you...
Big call, has it?
Who, sorry?
The IBF...
Yes, when you win a vacant title, it's very likely that they'll call a mandatory. They haven't yet, but we're in discussions with them. Again, being a vacant title, we know that Seremeta's pushing for it. Gennadi wants to fight Canelo, but I don't think he's going to wait for a decision from Canelo. So it all depends what happens maybe in the next few weeks. Obviously, the Kovalev fight is only 3 weeks away. So it's not like he can't wait till then, but I don't think he's prepared to wait till December, etc., to have another fight, or wait for a decision to another fight. So if the IBF say that the mandatory is due for a vacant title, which is generally what happens for a vacant belt, then he will jump in and take that fight.
And off topic, I'm from Dallas, so I got to ask, Maurice Hooker, going to 147, is there any opponent?
He's fighting on December the 13th, which is a card that we'll announce this week. He will be at £147. I think sometimes, like when a fighter struggles to make weight, they automatically say, I'm moving up. And then after a while they go, well, maybe I can still make 140. Danny Jacobs is the same. He's moving up to 168. Well, maybe I'll say, no, because we've seen you make 160 the last 4 or 5 times. It's brutal. So I think Maurice is a bit like that. He's kind of thinking, maybe, but I believe he should move to 147. He's won a world title at 140. I mean, we especially saw how he had to make weight at Turning Stone for that defence. I mean, he nearly lost his title on the scales. And again, it was tough against Ramirez. He made it a lot better. But I think it's time now for a new challenge. No opponent just yet, but again, that show will be announced this week.
You said that
In LA? Or is that
We're actually considering some different venues. It's likely it will be on the West Coast.
you said December the 13th. That will be Daniel Jacobs' debut at super middleweight, right? Speaking of Daniel Jacobs and moving up to super middleweight, do you know perhaps who'll be working his corner for that fight?
No, I mean, it's not really something I get involved with. I think that's a question for Danny and Keith and those guys. So all I'll do is give him his date and tell him who he's fighting.
Now that's a Friday. Did you not want to compete with the other promotional cards? PBC has a card.
Well, I think you just answered your own question for you. I mean, they've got a PBC card. You got a top rank card. Golden Boy are doing a card that night as well. Now, and there's UFC. So I was like, we'll do the Friday, thank you. So I don't know. I don't know what the fascination seems to be with always wanting to go on. Like, if there's a show on, don't try and be Billy Big Balls and say, well, I'll go as well. Like, there's no value to that. We are a subscription-based company, and we need to drive viewing figures and subscriptions. So going up against another show that might take some of our audience just doesn't make sense. So we will go December 13th.
I like Friday shows better, so.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm still getting to terms with how you guys, i.e. the American public, digest Friday and Saturday shows. In England, Saturdays do better, particularly on the gate. And I think that's the same in the US. I think more people are likely to buy a ticket for a Saturday night show than a Friday night show. And we especially have a problem that when we're on the West Coast. Because on a Friday, we have to start the show at 4 p.m. and the main event's at 9 p.m. It's very early. So I'm still getting to grips with Friday and Saturday night scheduling and what works. Maybe you guys can educate me. But I think our viewing figures in the UK are always better on a Saturday. I like Sunday, but that's an issue with you guys for your football. So I think Sunday afternoon boxing really works well in the UK, and I've only done it once. And Tony Bellew fought for the world title with Goodison, and it worked really well.
So it's been a year. Have you had a chat with the zone about viewing figures and how you?
Yeah, going really well. I mean, look, when we staged this show here last year, obviously we were coming from a standing start. We'd had one show, which was Joshua Povetkin, so we had very few subscribers on this show last year. obviously the main thing now, and it's difficult for me to comment too much on their behalf, but no one's leaving because the schedule's so good. And when you look at Golovkin, USYK, and then you've got Canelo against Kovalev, is a huge subscription driver, as is KSI against Logan Paul, with a completely different audience. You could be talking about 1 million subscribers over a 2-week period there. So I believe with Joshua Rees on December 7th, we're in a really good place. But the pressure is always on with a subscription-based business to keep delivering the schedule. So us and Golden Boy and everybody worked really hard to get this schedule in for the end of the year. So we announced that fight season schedule, and then you just about take a breath and they say, what have you got in January and February? So now it's a case of producing again and again, and obviously they want big fights. You know, the schedule's really good, but you need those tentpole moments, those KSIs, those Joshua Rees, those Canelo against Kovalev, and you've got a lot of those in this new season.
And you're comfortable they're going to pick up the options after next year?
Yeah, that's already taken care of, so that's not an issue for us. We've got a great relationship. We just signed the new 5-year international TV deal with them as well. So, you know, when we started, people just said they won't last, etc. We know the depth of the business, the strategy of the business, and the vision of the business, and they're just getting started. But it's tough.
On the Logan Paul card, the Devin Haney fight, Hector Tanahara's name is mentioned.
Yeah.
Is that looking realistic?
We made them an offer and they turned it down. I'm not pot-shotting them saying they should have, you know, he's a young prospect, Tanahara, you know, and so's Devin Haney. And I loved the fight, but I don't blame them, because I think Devin Haney's going to beat everybody, and he would certainly beat Hector Tanajara. And and therefore, why would Robert Garcia take the fight? You know.
No, it was Tanahara. It wasn't Oscar. It was Tanahara.
No, the offer was made to Golden Boy. I think they put it to Tanahara and his team, and the decision was no. You know, it wasn't. It's not, at that stage and that level, it's not like it was millions of dollars and they couldn't turn it down. They've got other options. You know, he's a young Mexican undefeated fighter, but I just felt like it was a good fight for the card.
Eddie, you speak on the closing fights to close out the year and how you believe it'll drive the subscription. Well, let's talk. You got Canelo, Kovalev, which is a big one that the zone is depending on. However, that's competing with one of the biggest UFC fights in the year, and then you have the KSI Logan Paul card. But that's also going to be distributed on YouTube pay-per-view, correct?
No, incorrect.
Okay, 'cause I know there was talks of
No,
that.
no, incorrect. Exclusive on the zone in America.
And in the UK is
Sky Sports box office, yeah. It's not on YouTube at all.
Okay.
Was last time. 1.4 million pay-per-view buyers last time. 400,000 in the US, 390 in the UK. So, regarding the UFC card, that's obviously it's not my show. So, I mean, there was some rumours that fight's not taking place though, wasn't there? Or someone's pulled out or something. I don't know. Saw it the other day. Don't know. Still, I really think that actually Canelo Kovalev is an intriguing fight. I think it will do really good numbers. I mean, I saw the Jacobs numbers, and I think this is probably a more intriguing fight because of the weight jump.
But does Kovalev have the natural fan base that Jacobs has? I mean, Jacobs is a star in the biggest city in the country.
I think it's the intrigue. I mean, you got a situation where Kovalev, although the numbers weren't amazing, has boxed on HBO pay-per-view twice against Andre Ward. Most of his career has been on HBO. You know, I think like for like, but it's just the intrigue. You know, when those two stand together at the press conferences and the weigh-in, makes, wow, look at the size differences. And it's like that every Canelo fight, isn't it? Rocky Fielding, even Danny Jacobs, and now Kovalev. But there is a huge size difference in a Kovalev fight. Huge size difference.
Since you don't have any interest in that, you want to make a prediction on that fight?
Yeah, I think Canelo will stop him between rounds 6 to 9, and I think it might end up being one similar to Mr. Witherspoon tonight, where it's just on the stall and, you know.
Is that just, do you think Kovalev's too old, or do you think this is the body?
No, I think Canelo's a brilliant fighter, and I think he's too fresh. I think that it's dangerous because I think that Kovalev will get in peak condition, and I think he'll give it everything, and I think he'll be his last hurrah. Like in the yard fight, I don't think he had a full camp. I don't think he was motivated, so I don't think you're going to get that Kovalev. I think you're going to get the best one that's possible at this stage in his career.
Are you confident, Eddie, that after that you can get Triple G, Canelo, G?
It's really it's up to Canelo. You know, you can skirt around it and say this and that, but ultimately, DAZN want Canelo against Triple G. Everybody knows that, and they'll be doing everything they can to make that fight happen. And Golden Boy are under pressure to deliver that fight, but Canelo probably knows that as well. So he's going to fight who he's going to want. He's the A side. But I think when you look at the options, it has to be Andrade, Callum Smith, Billy Joe Saunders, Triple G. And I know that DAZN are going to want Triple G. And, he may look at the Derevenchenko fight and say, okay. He may think that that's an easier fight than Callum Smith or Billy Joe Saunders or Demetrius Andrade. But you're going to get a better Triple G. Again, same kind of thing as Kovalev, different motivation in a fight like that.
Would the Triple G fight be at this venue or at another venue in Chicago?
I'd like to do it here. Not the Canelo fight, by the way. Yeah, I think this is one of the best arenas for viewing boxing. I really do. And we only had about another 1,000 up the back to do. And next time I want to do it.
Eddie, Matchroom on their social media's released like a little preview video of the venue for December 7th in Saudi. Could you talk about that? I know they're saying that the venue and what to expect.
Yeah, I mean, you saw the computer generated stuff. I mean, it's phenomenal. It's 16,000. It's going to be holding the boxing and then the tennis the week after as well, the Diriyah Tennis Cup. Tickets go on sale, I believe, Monday. We're not in charge of the tickets. I believe that prices start at around $100. Quite similar to the MSG numbers, to be honest with you, on the gate. I believe they're going to open it up internationally to different markets, the tickets. So there'll be a batch available for UK fans on a certain time frame, etc. And obviously there's a lot of people coming in from Dubai and the Middle East as well to watch the fight. So they're going to throw absolutely everything at this event. So it's going to be spectacular, even though Tyson Fury will be there in a couple of weeks. I didn't see him getting any stick about going to Saudi Arabia. No one's. I said to Kevin Ioli, you wrote 3 articles about this fight in Saudi Arabia and how bad it was, and I just saw you at the WWE press conference yesterday, championing it. So.
On the Doheny, it's always fun to watch him. The fight with Rahman probably was the best fight this year. Is it realistic? I know Rahman wants to do other things, but is that a rematch possible for 2020 and that headline the card?
Yeah, so Roman has got to fight Ahmed Ali, which is a very, very dangerous fight. It's his mandatory. That'll be the WBA and IBF. Doheny wants a rematch desperately. I think win or lose against Ahmed Ali, I think that's a rematch that I'd love to see happen. Down at those divisions, you really need to be having those spectacular fights to become a household name, and that was fight of the year. So I'd like to see the rematch.
Eddie, Anthony Sims Jr., great out there again. When can we see him back in the zone, and who could he
Otherwise, he's going to end up probably going a bit stale. He's an excellent talent, but I feel like he's someone that needs to be pushed and put under pressure. And I like the fights like against Rocky Fielding, against Martin Murray, those kind of fights where we're going to find out a lot about Anthony Sims Jr. A lot of people go through those levels really well. I think he's 20-0 now. You only really find out once you take the bigger steps. And I'm excited to see him take those steps because I think he's got the talent. But it's time to find out.
Can he actually make 168?
He made 168 yesterday. Well, 168 and a half. He actually come in half a pound over. But he's made 168 for a while now. I was even talking to him about making 160, but he didn't like that conversation. He was at 175. He said he couldn't make 168. He makes it comfortably, although he was half a pound over. But 168 is definitely his division.
Talking about taking steps up, White Chocolate took a step up against Isaiah Selden, the guy we've seen before. Absolutely blew him out. How fast do you want to move him, and when can we see him again and against a higher level of competition?
I think that it's fascinating watching all our younger fighters develop. Sometimes some people look good and bad. I thought Ofer Jones and Bayaslanov tonight looked quite average. I was a bit disappointed with their performances. And I thought White Chocolate looked fantastic at the Garden last week. I think he's probably up there with Amo Williams as the one that's sort of catching everybody's eye right now, and they're all good because they're all competing against each other. Diego Pacheco looks really good. Spino looks good. But Nikita's got that little sparkle at the moment, that little following that's generating. So I think he's going to be a really good fighter. He's going to box on the KSI Logan Paul card. And he's getting to a stage now where a lot of these guys, you know, the first 5, 6, 7 fights, it's a nice experience. You know, some are gimme fights, some are a little bit difficult. They're getting paid for the first time. They're watching these checks come in. You know, you see a few cars for the first time on Instagram that they're picking up. But now it starts to get a little bit more serious. 8 rounds, you know, and we're happy to invest in make sure they progress at the right speed. But sooner or later for these guys, they're about 6 months away from finding out a little bit more about them in terms of what they've got and if they can actually progress to the next stage.
And does White Chocolate look okay when he won the
Yeah, you know what? And I gave him a bollocking because he weren't fit, in my opinion. He came into the ring, and I know I'm not really one to talk, but he had a belly coming over his shorts, and I gave him what we call in the UK a bollocking. And I said, "How? Like, look at the opportunity these kids have got. We're flying them all over the world to learn, to get paid. Like, it's everything. Every opportunity is there for them on a plate. All they've got to do is be good enough and work hard. That's it. So the moment someone's not working hard, the moment someone's cheating, don't expect us to work hard for you, and don't expect us to invest the money to give you all these opportunities." So I told him that, and I put him in with a strength and conditioner, Scooter, in New York. Shout out to Scooter. Danny Jacobs is conditioner, a lot of the guys there, and he has beasted him for 2 months. And he came back in MSG, and he was in, like, the difference in physique and sharpness was on another level. It's very difficult with these kids. You know, they live, all of a sudden they've got money coming in, they've got friends telling them to come out and do this and do that. But the only way you're going to make it is just to be completely narrow-minded and stubborn and boring and just be completely focused on your boxing. A bit like Devin Haney.
So bringing him down to 154, that's...
It's a must. It's a must. Easy.
Him, Ammo, and Pacheco.
Yeah. Well, I think Pacheco, he's such a big boy. I mean, he's at 160. I see him at super middleweight, really, at 168. But they're like, some of these kids are like 19. You know, Ofer Jones is 18. Yeah. It's hard to be hard on them. But if you're put up there on live TV and everybody's championing your name, you've got to perform better than that in Ofer Jones' case tonight.
Put him in with Texas guy. Texas guys are tough.
Yeah, no, that's what we want. That's how you learn. But you've got to be better.
Eddie, really quick, kind of a little off topic, but what are your thoughts on no context turn? And I've seen you entertain it a little bit, but what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's maybe not everyone in this room knows what you're talking about, but it's funny. It's funny and it's entertaining. It's just like everybody's using it. So I'm walking down the street in the UK and people just, "You're that guy off No Context HEARN," but it's actually me. It's his fault.
You do realize that most people don't even know who you
I
are.
know.
No, just being serious.
Yeah, I know. No, but that's good. That's good. It's like KSI Logan Paul.
The account has like over 250,000 followers.
I know. But it's like when I did on Monday we did the KSI Logan Paul press conference. We had 4,000 people turn up to the press conference. They don't even know who I am. They have no idea who I am. It's quite nice, actually. Even though they were throwing Vaseline and contraceptions at me and, you know, sorts. Well, maybe at Logan Paul. Yes, please.
Question about December 7th. I mean, there is...
The governments that one shouldn't travel there. But we don't see that as an issue right now.
Eddie, you mentioned Chicago for February. Do you think about the BiWeekly event in Chicago?
The weekend is biannually. 2 events, yeah. I was just about to bluff about the BiWeekly event. I'm glad you said that because now I'm thinking, what's the BiWeekly event in February? I was going to make something up, but February the 29th is a date that we're looking at here. We have a hold on the arena on February the 29th. So it's difficult to go to a place twice in a year with the schedule, but if there was a place we'd go twice to in a year, it would be Chicago. I mean, we've probably had our 2 biggest gates in this arena. Certainly tonight, outside of Joshua Ruiz, was probably the biggest gate we've had in America. So yeah, and it's a great city, and it's not as expensive for the production. That's what they told me earlier today. They were happy.
When are you coming back to Texas?
It's something we're looking at for December 13, actually. We are in talks with Chavez to fight Danny Jacobs, and that would be a big fight in Texas. So I was a bit disappointed with the gate in Texas, to be honest with you, for a fight of that magnitude.
Yeah.
And I know Mo's not massive in Texas, but I wanted to take it there to give our guy the home advantage. With the result, maybe we should have just gone to Fresno. But, we still had about 5,500, and I just felt that was a great fight for Texas. But again, we're learning. We're learning all the time.
Are you learning any new cities in the United States where you want to bring?
Yeah, I mean, there's loads. Even for December 13, there's Tucson. There's other cities in Texas as well. San Antonio. Even down in Hidalgo there, which we've done events there before. Atlantic City's being talked about. I've had events there before. Mexico's been great for us. Obviously, another country, but still, it's been amazing crowds. We had 12,000 there for Estrada. We'll be going to Miami in January, which is our first event in Florida, which I'm quite excited about. New York's great, but it can become a little bit saturated unless you've got a big event. I want to go to the Bay Area with Devin Haney. Obviously, Vegas is always appealing. So, yeah, lots to do.
Speaking of Devin Haney, what about a fight with Lomachenko?
Well, we're mandatory. Devin's mandatory. And Lomachenko wants to fight the winner of Teofimo Lopez against Commey, which is December 14th. But really, realistically, that fight's not going to happen till May. So I'm saying, to Maurizio Sulaiman, surely he's not going to wait till May. So can't we just order the fight now? For me, building a young fighter like Devin Haney, fighting Lomachenko next is madness. And I believe he can beat him. I do. But he wants to, I can't get in the way of that. Him and Bill, his father, they want to fight him now. So I see it as huge risk with huge reward. And I do believe he can win the fight. But I would like him, he's 20. Imagine where he's going to be at 23, 24. But they want all those fights now. I'd like to see him fight Linares, Luke Campbell, these kind of guys. And then if he gets through those guys, then there's nowhere else to go but a Lomachenko. 5 minutes.
And you mentioned Guy Estrada. What's the latest with him?
He's fighting Cal Yafai, our WBA super flyweight champion, in a unification fight, which will either be on December the 13th or in January.
Eddie, because of all the heat you've taken for December 7th going to Saudi Arabia, even though you mentioned the hypocrisy, has it discouraged you from going back to Saudi Arabia next year? Or in the
The answer to that is very, very straightforward. And we've seen a young man tonight get injured in the ring. No one has the right to tell a fighter where they can and can't go to fight and to make money. And certainly not me. Because it's irrelevant what I think. At the end of the day, my job is to put the opportunities in front of the fighters and their managers and their teams. And this was an opportunity too good to turn down. So promoters have been trying for years and years to go to the Middle East, and I was the first one to get it. So I'm going to get all the stick that comes with it. I mean, look, there is a great example. Like, we took so much stick over Saudi Arabia. I haven't seen one negative thing about the WWE or Tyson Fury going there. Not one article, not one tweet. Remember when we announced it? We got mullered. So that was always going to happen. Someone does it, and then afterwards it's fine. And actually, since we've announced the fight, every promoter in the game and Manny Pacquiao is in. I don't know if he's still there. He's been in Dubai for ages trying to sign a fight. So everyone's trying to do it, and it's a prize fight at the end of the day. So we've got to deliver for the fighters. That's our job. And trust me, the fighters don't mind if it's in Saudi Arabia. They're looking at. They know how risky this sport is, and I knew it was going to be difficult for a UK fight. We wanted a neutral venue, and the money was great. and it happened.
But for you personally, has it discouraged you from...
No, because I'm doing my job. No, because I'm doing my job. Because at the end of the day, I don't care if I get stick. I'm delivering for my fighters. And they're the ones that matter. They're the ones that deserve the opportunities, the big paydays, and it's a prize fight. So if I don't do it, someone else is going to do it. And someone else is going to offer their fighters, and they're going to take it. So it's a no-brainer. Stick's irrelevant. Like it's about the fighters, and sometimes I have to take a few bullets for them along the way.
Eddie, I didn't get in time. You may have answered his performance.
He'll be in a minute. I thought it was a good performance. I mean, I think he wanted to get rounds. I mean, I think that's a question for him later on. I thought Witherspoon was really good. You know, I mean, bearing in mind he had 5 days' notice, and I was a bit concerned. And I watched tape, and I know he can fight, but I'm just hoping that he would do what he did, basically, which is, you know, be aggressive at times, throw shots, trade. He landed a couple of good right hands that I think made USYK think. And I thought it was a good performance. His movement's excellent. I still think there's going to be not question marks over the power, but how that levels up against elite heavyweights, and also taking shots back. I mean, you know, there's going to be much, much tougher tests for him ahead than Witherspoon. And to be honest with you, that's his only heavyweight fight he's having before he fights for the world title. That's it. So that, for me, is some of the fascination, because his next fight will be for the WBO world title.
I was going to ask, okay, is he too fast and too skilled for anyone in the heavyweight division?
Yes, but he's undersized. So
The only question is his
chin, power, I don't know, you know, but in terms of the first question, yes. You know, I think he's going to be too clever, too fast, movement's going to be too good, feet are going to be too good.
Hey guys, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe here to Pheno Boxing by clicking right here, and follow us at all our social media platforms. And my personal one is Adriana_sports.